Hey folks, you are most welcome to the channel. And once again, we have an amazing guest who is going to be sharing with you how to grow your agency, how to start and grow your agency or your coaching business. So he is joining us from California. So, dear guest, you are most welcome on the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this. Let's drop some value for your audience so they can get some nuggets here and make some more money.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, definitely that's the goal for today's podcast is to help people to make more money as you have been the one of the masterminds when it comes to helping people to make more money, right? So uh, Rahul, here comes my first question for you is people are struggling to start their marketing agency. It's like let's say there is a person who is running a video editing agency, right? So how they can start and scale it?
The first thing is don't let perfection stop you from greatness because the easiest thing in the world is to focus on your operations and things that are not client driven. If you have skills, let's say as a video editor and you want to sell to a very particular target market, you have to come up with an offer structure, come up with a list, and then go gangbusters on reaching out like crazy. Now, I just coincidentally wrote a post on getting your foot in the door with your ideal customers. And the most important thing, like I'll show you my exact story lines exactly with like the video editor. When I first started, I did graphic design. And I realized if I'm cold calling, if I'm cold DMing, cold emailing, cold texting, people don't want to buy my shit. They don't want to buy the $10,000 thing, the 15 high ticket, my most expensive thing that I know that will change their lives if they just give me a shot. So instead is like, I'm like, all right, they're a stranger. They don't know me. I'm assuming they've been burned. Now I know they have the capital if I gave them something small. And I just thought like, I love going to Costco. When I was a kid, I'd go there for the hot dog and then my mom would go shopping. So because I wanted a hot dog, her cart was now worth 400, right? So the $1.50 hot dog turned into a $400 shopping excursion. So that model I planned into my business. I'm like, how can I sell this thing for $150 just to get my foot in the door as a sample? Once they love it, then I'm going to sell them more of it. So that's how I find my angle. And I anticipate what that they've already gotten burned. They've either already tried another vendor and fired them, or they're just brand new and missing the whole entire party instead of not and they're not doing video. Now this is the opportunity where they can get in at a low cost just to try, and then we can earn their trust, and then we can earn their long-term retainer based business, and then it turns into five-star reviews, video testimonials, referrals, and that's how the business goes viral. It can be viral in your own mind, and it doesn't have to be like Gary Vaynerchuk viral, where he has a whole entire team 24/7 working for him, posting on 20 different accounts and 64 pieces of content a day. It can go viral within a network. If you get in tied in the right network, most people to make $1 million business just need 10 core clients. And once you have 10 core clients, it goes into reputation, referrals, and constantly knowing how to have the strategies to ask for more business.
Awesome, awesome. So that's something incredible over here. So ask going through the next question over here, as I try asking over here, it's like people are like, okay, let's say they are doing it from scratch, as you also mentioned. So going to the referrals and all, people are stuck at a point. Now, what next? Right? Let's say they
Mm-hmm.
are doing their sales. So what next they should do?
So, I mean, sales is going to be the lifeblood of any business, right? We've all seen Shark Tank. I mean, every one of those sharks that are up on that wall that are worth $1 billion, they started just where all of us started with nothing, with an idea. And they're the difference between them and anybody else, like they take action and they just go do the thing. They do it passionately. They do it relentlessly, and they don't think of failure as failure. They think of failure as a learning curve. A lot of people I see out there are they're when they fail, they change their entire offer. They change their whole entire business, their product. They get shiny object syndrome, and that there goes the domino. Now you're fucked. Your way of thinking is, well, they're not buying video. Maybe they'll buy this. Well, they're not buying that, so let me do this. So a lot of people change way too often. And then they go niche hopping even. Like I started in a very difficult industry. And it wasn't the most fun industry in the world, but I had fun doing what I did, and it was real estate. I mean, if I took the first year and quit and switched industries, I would just be starting over from scratch every single time. But now people have no patience. They're starting over every week, every month, and saying this industry doesn't work. I'm like, bullshit. It's like you just haven't given it the right effort, because it comes down to simple principles. You don't have to be the best in the world at what you do. You don't even have to be the greatest in your city of what you do. You just have to have great enthusiasm to want to live your life and go after every deal you possibly can. Let the world know what the fuck you do. And with social media, I was doing this over the phone. Like I was cold calling. Now I can just post videos and people see it, and now they know exactly what I do. I can make offers on video without even knowing anybody, right? Like how we got to this podcast right here is because I did a video on another podcast, right? So look how easy our distribution model is. I think we got to just stick to simple principles and literally go after sales, like marketing, coming up with your scary offer, like something so sexy they can't say no, or they have to be curious to want to know more so you can start the conversation. Master a particular niche. It could be coaches, it could be consultants, it could be podcasters, it could be doctors, dentists. Pick a niche to start off with so you can get your teeth grinded and you can master customer language so you can associate really well to them. Because when you're a master of all, you're a master of none. And then you can just and go hardcore into it. And get your selling strategy, cold emailing, cold DMing, cold calling, go into Facebook groups, run ads on Facebook, make a whole entire page with your examples and show different styles. Style 1, this is called the Gary V. Style 2, this is called the Grant Cardone. Style 3, Style 4, so you can show them what they could have and teach them how they can use it. One video can be sent everywhere. Like, so if they invested, let's say you're charging $150 for the first sample, show them how they can use this video everywhere, on their Facebook wall, their Facebook page, their LinkedIn, their Instagram, their TikTok, their Twitter, their website, their landing pages, their email signatures. I mean, they can use it absolutely everywhere, and it doesn't cost them more to use it on those other channels. They can use one video 18 different ways. So instead of paying 18 times, they're just paying for one. So I use those kind of things when I'm explaining it to clients, is that once I get their mind to think I can use it 18 times and I only pay for one, I'm basically using anchoring techniques. You're not paying $200 times 18, you're paying $200 times one, but I'm going to let you use it 18 different ways and I'm going to show you how.
Right, right,
Right. So I'm just
perfect.
adding more and more value to educate them.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. So, one thing got my mind in my mind. It's like you mentioned, people quit after a certain period of time, in the small period of time. How one could decide that now I should rather choose the other one, or continue doing what I have been doing, or what kind of changes I need to make if I don't need to quit as of now?
Okay, like let's go back to childhood when we're all born. We all start off like 1 day old when we come out, right? Or is less than 1 day. Now, how long does it take a child to walk? Use that as your barometer of how long you should give your business to succeed if you're brand new, right? Because you need at least a year, 18 months. Like if it's a little girl, girls walk faster. They may be walking at 12, 13 months, 14 months, maybe. Guys are 18 months, maybe a little bit longer. Give yourself enough time to go all in. And if you don't figure it by then, there's two things that you need to consider. It's not necessarily a switch at that stage. It could be you need the right partner that can actually help you expand the business. If you're the operator and you know how to do the videos or the marketing and you just can't do sales very well, or go get experience and go intern or work for a company and then understand the whole business model. Because if you can't sell, your skill is absolutely useless, right? Because there's so many restaurants in my neighborhood, probably yours too, that start and they have very good skill. They can make samosas, they can make pani puri, they can make Italian pizzas, they can make all these cool different things. But if they can't get customers, who gives a fuck about their skill, right? So it's important that you learn how to sell. You need to be able to distribute it. That's the most important part in my mind. Is I don't care what I offer to people as long as I know I have a delivery mechanism. So for me with graphic design, I've sold over $10 million in just banner ads, like the little square rectangular graphics that go on the internet for ads. That's a commodity, but I made it innovative by standing out. So I created an offer that they couldn't say no, and I just sold it. Now, as far as my delivery, I partnered with dozens of contractors all over the internet. And I said, I don't have that skill, but I have the skill to sell. And now I sold something I didn't know how to do, found the designers after I made my first few sales, delivered an exceptional product to my standards. Clients fell in love with it. They're repeat purchasers. So that would be my answer, is give it a long period of time, because anything greatness doesn't come over 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. It comes over a fucking time. And if you do it for a year to 18 months, you will figure it out if you focus on client acquisition. And think about the show Shark Tank. Think about like the people who are most likely to get funded. Their sales are great. They have a system to be able to get clients. The only exception is if they're an entrepreneur where they have such a talented idea where the sharks are like, look, I'll do your sales for you. Let's partner, right? That's the only exception when super duper innovative, like a software or something brand new to disrupt the entire the market. But that would be my advice to somebody: give it more patience, and do something that you can do and sustain for a long period of time. Like, don't go sell something you absolutely hate just because some other dude posted a video that they're making money on, because we don't know if that video is true or not. You have to do what's best for you personally, and then you'll do it at a high standard.
Right, right. We got it. We got it. And I, while I was, doing the research, there was a person, he reached out to me and asked me that how do I get out of this, this place of the shiny syndrome objects? It's like I have a couple of things in my mind right now, and I see this is working, video is working, graphic is working, funnels are working. Which one to go through? Right, he was stuck at a point. So what is your advice for that person?
Now, are you asking they have all the talent to build all of those three things?
Yes.
Okay, so number one, what does the market want the most, and what could be a repeat purchase? So there's not, the shelf life expires, like bread expires, right? So now what could I offer that the market wants to my target audience? So you mentioned graphic video landing pages. Landing pages may have a long shelf life, so you might have a one and done situation. Anybody can do landing pages. There's templates out there. Graphics, there's a lot of access to talent on Fiverr and different platforms, but people want to have a reliable designer so they can constantly do new ads, new graphics, new posts, new scroll graphics, and all that kind of shit on Instagram with carousels. Video is another option. So I would understand what are people not doing that they should be doing, that they know they would be doing and they'd be willing to buy. I would lean in with starting with video as my foot in the door offer to my target audience, do the model that I previously mentioned, offer the first one for cheap to earn the long run business, to make sure it's a good fit from communication, quality, styling, and need and desire from the client. And then I can ascend them to my other services and become more valuable to them. Now, the way I would do it is saying, let's say I sold you the video, saying, okay, Avi, let's do this video. I'm going to charge you. Normally it's much more. I'm going to give you my new customer special. It's $150. Try it. I want this to be our interview process. And then once we get it right and perfect, we have the right fonts, the right angles, the right videos, the right 3 to 7 seconds. We're going to be changing angles, zooming in, using graphics, all kinds of cool shit. I want you to love it. And then once you love it, then we're going to talk about how we can scale this model for you. And then now I'm going to sell you a retainer package after I have that conversation, after I get your feedback from my first sample. Once I know you fucking love it, I'm going to sell you more of the exact same thing. Now, once we've worked together for maybe 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, once I know that I'm indispensable, you're loving me, we're having a great relationship, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? By the way, is it cool with you if I make some recommendations that I think would enhance the brand? Now, I'm looking at your LinkedIn, I'm looking at your other profiles. I noticed the graphics are like a little bit Canva designed. Does that make sense? Like, it's not like perfect. I'm not trying to offend you or anything, Abby, but like,
Yeah, yeah.
do you think we can work on that project and I can make it all like congruent across all platforms, and I can be your graphic designer and your video editor? Okay, cool. Awesome. Now I'll say, now that I'm now in earned video and graphic, then I'll say, hey, by the way, who's doing your funnels? Now, do you think it would be easier if you tried me out so we can bring all the marketing and asset creation in-house to me and I'll be your partner? So instead of like coming to me for certain things, now it's all congruent from like the marketing channel. So your videos, your graphics, your landing pages are all done by the same person, the same team. Would that be helpful to you? And then we can run a deal for you, like a quote unquote special deal, because then you'll be working with us more intimately. So I'll constantly ascend and ascend and ascend
Right,
because
perfect.
I have to start with my foot in the door. And I think a lot of people get confused because the client tells you what they want. They want video, they want graphics, they want funnels, and then the poor guy is going to give them a quote and the client's going to say, well, wow, that's way too expensive, I don't want to start there, that's way too much. Then you have to start to downsell, if you even know how to downsell, to get a project started, and then you have to reverse it and go back to upsell. So that's why I start off with a foot in the door to eliminate the fucking friction, out the gate, earn the business, versus like the things that most freelancers, especially when I see from like overseas, India, Pakistan, any kind of country that doesn't train on how to sell, they're letting the client lead versus you being the leader. We have to get that first sale going, the foot in the door, because if you're writing proposals, you're losing the deals. You're going to get people ghosting. They're going in a different direction. They're thinking about starting in quarter number two, which makes no sense, right? So
Right.
you lose the deals, and then you wonder, poor me, why? It's not that you're not good at what you do. It's just that you don't have the art, science, or skill to recognize the sales patterns.
Right. That's something interesting. Uh, I just went through your profile. I really found that you also shared with people that sell through the messenger, right? So how one can start selling through the messenger?
So there's two things. You're actually selling and making a transaction through Messenger. That's one way. The other way is you're selling the next step on Messenger. The next step could be a conversation. It could be an invite to an event. It could be to a Facebook Live or whatever it is. So I just have to post, like, the model is simple. We have a training that I can give away to your audience totally free. It's in my Facebook group, joingsd.com/group. You go there, fill in the survey. Make sure if you do go to our group, we'll give you tons of free trainings, but you have to answer every question. If you don't answer every question, my administrator will decline you. So that's important. But we have something called the perfect stranger method. We post something of value on our profiles. People raise their hand, and you can go to my profile right now while we're doing this if you want to. You can see I'm giving away a free content calendar. I had to pump out 30 pieces of content in an hour a day. And now people will say, I want it. Now, when I go and I'll send a message publicly on my profile saying, no problem, check your DM, and I'll use my me link, my direct messenger link, m.me/Rahul0805. When they click it, it goes and opens Messenger automatically. And I'm eliminating the friction of them having to go to Messenger like on their own. They just click it, it opens. So it's like very, very simple. It speeds the transaction of the conversation up. Now, once I go into the conversation, I'll just remind them saying, hey, I saw that you wanted this, that right? Question mark. Yes, it is. I'd love it. Cool. Just so I know, are you also a digital marketer coach? Now I'm qualifying. Are they my target audience? Cool. What kind of content are you currently doing? None. Or were you struggling? Everywhere. Cool. We'll tell you the truth. I may have some tips and advice. Would you be open to a 5-minute call? See if I can help you, and I can drop the link to the asset as well. And they'll say yes or no. If they say no, not a problem. Here's the link. Like, hop in our group. I'd love to connect with you later. And if they say yes, I'd be totally down for that. But cool, what's your phone number? What's your email? And then I'll say, cool, calendar sent for tomorrow, 8 in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. Hit accept and just be on time. And then I'm got a conversation going. Now I have a sales conversation. Right. So it's that
Right.
simple.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Perfect.
yeah, but to get your message in front of the right audience, I left that part out. Go to the training, Perfect Stranger Method, once you're inside of our group, or once you're in, just ask for Perfect Stranger Method, and I'll show you how to build your audience. And all it takes is time. It does not take money for this strategy, unless you buy something, unless you buy a training from us. Those are where we have more detailed trainings, but those are all cheap. They're like $7. We sell everything
Right.
as cheap as possible to help as many people get skill and make as much money as possible.
Right. Perfect. So what I'll do, people who are watching us over here, I'll definitely drop a link inside the description so that you can go and check out the group. You join it, you learn it, and grow. That's what the motto is, right? So here is a question that is coming up. It's like, what is your biggest mistake that you have committed through your entrepreneurship and you don't want the people in their 20s to miss it?
Two things. There's two mistakes. Mistake number one is going to be putting your eggs all in one basket, and that simply means when I first started, I had like one major client. Like I'm talking well over six figures every single month for a long period of time, and I thought the show and the road would never end. So I went all in. I had tons of employees, everybody on one account, and I didn't build the rest of my business. I didn't go and get other clients because I was making way too much money. 3.5 years later, they gave us or 3 years later, they gave us a 6 month notice that they were going to fire us. Still didn't learn my lesson. I figured I can recover, save, and keep it. Didn't do that. Didn't plan ahead. Had to start the agency from scratch all over again. I mean, that was the biggest mistake. Number one, incredible learning lesson because it taught me willpower from crumbling. In my mind, I was at the top of the food chain of all my friends. I made the most money. I had the best thriving company out of like I was pretty much one of the first entrepreneurs out of my close network of friends. And what they were making in a year, I was making every like 3 weeks. Right. So that's how fruitful it was for me. So I got to the top of my personal mountain and then I collapsed well below into a ditch. And I just tested my mindset and my willpower. And that took me about 24 hours to rise from the ashes of depression of like, poor me, why did this happen? What the fuck? I made all these mistakes and all that bullshit that goes through your head, and just went right back on the high horse and just acquired client after client after client more ruthlessly than ever. And I built this thing back up within months and made more money than I was making before. So that was like the first mistake. The second mistake I made was I never released control fast enough. If I assigned you a job without being like on your shoulder, touching you or next to you, I would breathe down your neck and micromanage everybody like fucking crazy. And I wouldn't release control. So it annoyed people, it annoyed me, and I wanted to hire myself. And I realized I couldn't do that because my friends would say, "You're a fucking terrible manager." So I had to hire, I lost a lot of good people that I shouldn't have lost, but I never hired the number two in command. I hired that way too late in life. Had I hired a number two in command, they would have ran my entire business the way like I would have wanted to, even better. And I would have just had so much more free time earlier on in life. That was the one and two mistake. And those are advice and tips that everybody gave me that I did not fucking pay attention to until something bad happened and then I paid attention to. So I wish I actually took the advice of the smarter people, the CEOs of publicly traded companies that I befriended that were like literally the CEO of Sony Home Entertainment, stamps.com, like fucking huge companies. These guys raised hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, giving me this advice. And I'm saying, no, I'm right. So my hard headedness caused me to create major mistakes and cost me probably millions. But it was a learning lesson that I hope you guys don't make.
Right, perfect. Thank you so much. The valuable nuggets over here are being shared by the amazing guest, and I strongly believe after watching this session, this episode, the people out there watching us would be implementing it. Right. So, what is your point on execution? Because a lot of people learn, but they don't execute.
I mean, that's the whole point of learning. What's the point of learning if you're not going to execute? Because there's so many brilliant people, and one of my family members, when I go to her house, her book, she's my aunt, my dad's sister. She has her fucking house is huge, but it's all books. Like you have books behind you. Imagine like 30,000 books just all over the house. She's read every one of them. All she does is read. She's book smart, but she doesn't implement shit, right? So what the fuck is the point? To have a good dinner conversation and talk about Shakespeare? No, that's bullshit. It's about implementing. What do you want to do out of life? Go fucking do it. Right. That's the number one thing. If the goal is to make money, you have to have the Nike slogan tattooed on your wall, on your arm, wherever in your brain. Just do it. It's literally that simple. because that's how greatness happens. You have to, like, failure is not the definition of failure is not succeeding, whatever the formal definition is. I don't fucking know. I haven't even Googled it. But the real definition in entrepreneur minds is failure equals success because you're learning from it to not make those mistakes. You improve from it. So you have to just go do it, get vulnerable, and just get out there, because if you don't, someone else is already going to crush you. And then the only thing you're going to lose is time. Because think about this for a moment before we end this. When you're just sitting there on your deathbed and you're going to take your last breath, are you going to say, I wish I had more time? Or are you going to say, I wish I had more money? Right? So you're going to run out of time. So start
Right.
now.
Right. Perfect. That's incredible. That's incredible. I asked this question at the end. Why? Because a lot of people watch the episodes, but they never execute it. I want you all to jump into his group, join it, learn from it so that you grow, man. You just grow and take your family to the next level, right?
Yeah.
That's
And
the goal.
here's one thing for you action takers out there. When you join the group, I'm also going to give you a free course. It's going to be 11 hours. All I ask is you go through it and you give me feedback in the comment section in our Facebook group, what you think about it. It's called the Agency Foundation. It's totally free. I just zoomed you the link. I see you zoomed you 2 links. One is free, our agency foundations. Our second is our inner circle mastermind, which is called the Diamond Club. It's $7. It takes an investment, but you get access to Netflix style learning of how to build a multi-million dollar agency like I built, with step-by-step instructions. It's literally so easy to follow, and it's not confusing. It's not guru training. It's precise training that'll teach you. And every week you have access on Zoom with me and my partner teaching you exactly how to execute and ask any questions you want so you can get precise answers and make lots of fucking money.
Right, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to my audience who has been watching us, and thank you so much to the guest as well. Thank you so much once again for adding the golden nuggets.
Yep, you're welcome. Glad to be here.